Ladies and gentlemen, when Craig Patrick made the Hockey Hall of Fame in 2001 as a builder, it was highly controversial because this was the same year that the person who drafted Jaromir Jagr traded him, who was the executive for the Penguins, for a bucket of pucks as part of a cost-saving measure for the former Stanley Cup champions. Now, because of conflict of interest, I think all the bad trades he made through the years, although he made as many good trades, I can't be objective about his management career, but I can be objective about his career as a player because he kept the Patrick family tradition going of excellence in amateur and pro hockey. Now, Craig Patrick, born May 20th, 1946 in Detroit, Michigan, was, again, part of that great Patrick legacy that goes way back, almost 120 years. He's the son of Lynn Patrick and the grandson of Lester Patrick, two icons of hockey throughout North America. Now, during the 80 Winter Olympics, he was the AGM, and assistant coach under Herb Brooks for the United States team that won gold in the Miracle on Ice run. And from 89 to 2006, he was a GM of the Pittsburgh Penguins when he oversaw back-to-back championships in 91-92. And again, he drafted and signed some great players, but again, made some of the most stupidest trades in NHL history, and that's the Jagr one. Better not to talk about it. Now, after spending most of his childhood in Wellesley, Massachusetts, he was sent at age 14 to Quebec to play junior hockey in the Metropolitan Junior Hockey League for the Lachine Maroons and later the Montreal Junior Canadiens. He eventually attended the University of Denver, where he helped guide the Pioneers hockey team to the NCAA championships in 68 and 69. He played on the U.S. national team in 1970 and the 71 seasons, including the 70 and 71 Ice Hockey Worlds, and at the time he was also serving in the U.S. Army. Now, Patrick's pro career was modest, but he did play 8 seasons in the NHL with the California Golden Seals, of which he's most well known, the St. Louis Blues, the Kansas City Scouts, and the Washington Capitals. He also played briefly for the Minnesota Fighting Saints of the WHA in 77 before jumping back to the NHL when the Saints folded. He amassed 72 goals, 91 assists, and 163 points in 401 NHL games during his major pro career. He was also a member of Team USA at the inaugural 76 Canada Cup tournament and also played for US at the 79 Worlds, shortly before retiring from pro hockey. Now, as it stands right now, the Patrick family history, the lineage is tremendous. Multiple members of the Patrick family have won the Stanley Cup. Now, Lester, again, Craig's grandfather, won one with the Montreal Wanderers in 07 as a player, the Victoria Cougars in 25 as president, manager, coach, with the Rangers in 28 as the playing manager, coach, Terry Tree as manager, coach, and 1940 as manager. Frank, Craig's granduncle, won with the Vancouver Millionaires in 1915, playing as president and Lynn, Craig's father, won as a player with the Rangers in 1940. Murray, Craig's uncle, won with the Rangers in 1940 again as a player. Now, Craig won his titles with Pittsburgh in 91-92, while Chris Patrick, Craig's cousin and the grandson of Murray, won one as Washington Capitals Director of Player Personnel in 2018. Now, Dick Patrick, Craig's cousin, which is the son of Murray, won one with the Capitals in 2018 as president. Now, Glenn, Craig's brother, has never won the Stanley Cup, but Curtis, Craig's nephew, has been a minor league player in the AHL and ECHL. Now, he did return to management after his debacle in Pittsburgh, but again, not as much of an impact, no pun intended, as he was when he was with Pittsburgh. And again, if you want to read up about some of the great drafts and trades he made, but the stupid ones, I don't think anybody would forgive him for trading Jaromir Jagr for basically nothing. Now, again, he broke in the MMJHL with Lachine Maroons in 64, where he had 43 points in 43 games. Now, most well known as a center, did play the wing on occasion. I have seen him play again. Some of the point and the power plays go technically would be a position. Now, with the Montreal Junior Canadiens in 65, he had 31 points in 56 regular season games, 13 goals for the OHA side, with 1 goal in 7 playoff contests. 66, he played with the LA HHOF of the California AHL, with 23 points in 9 games. Now, with the University of Denver, again, 4 big seasons. First campaign, he had 34 points in 30 games, including 18 goals. 68, 23 goals in 34 games, 49 points. 69, he had 15 points in 17 games, including 7 goals. In 1970, University of Denver, 16 points in 5 games, including 9 counters. Now, 71, he played 3 games with the Voyageurs, with 1 assist in 3 contests. Now, 72, he broke in the NHL, again had a good season with California, 11 points in 59 games, including 8 goals. He also played with the Baltimore Clippers that year with 3 goals in 12 games. 73, 42 points, hit the 20-goal mark in 71 games, including 22 assists. 74, 30 points in 59 games, including 10 goals. But 75 saw him leave California. He scored 2 goals in 14 games with the Seals, moved on to St. Louis with 15 points in 43 games, and played in the playoffs that year with the Gary Unger-led squad. 76, he moved on to Kansas City with 35 points in 80 games, including 17 goals. Now, ironically, he played with Washington in 77 and also played in the WHA. He jumped the fence, as we say. 17 points with Minnesota, including 6 counters and 11 assists, where he had 17 points in 28 games, including 7 goals with the Caps. 78, he had 8 points in 44 games, only 1 goal. And again, played in Hershey 27 games with 9 points, including 5 counters. 79, he played in 3 big leagues. He had 2 points in 3 regular season games to wrap up his major pro career. With the Tulsa Oilers, very underrated side, 45 points in 69 games, including 22 goals. He also played with the LA Blades of the PHL with 1 counter in 7 games. So final NHL totals, 17 points in 30 games, including 6 goals for the WHA side, Minnesota. NHL 401 games, 163 points, 72 goals, and had 1 assist in 2 playoff games. Now internationally, again, this is where he was well known for being one of the most consistent players. Now in 1970, U.S. were on the B level. He had 13 points in 7 games, including 8 goals. Back to the A level in 71, 5 points in 10 games, including 3 goals. 76 at the Canada Cup, 4 points in 5 games, including 2 counters. And 79 with the U.S. squad battling Team Canada and the other top squads. He had 3 points in 8 games and with 2 minutes in penalties. Now, one of the most gentlemanly players of his era, he played again 401 games in the NHL with only 61 minutes in penalties. Now, what was kind of ironic, ladies and gentlemen, he would rarely take a minor penalty. Often would be basically the cool water on these teams. But he played with some rough squads as well. Kansas City had a bad 76. Washington was still struggling as a franchise in those 2 years that he was playing mostly on the defensive side. But Craig has big respect amongst many people, especially in New York and Pittsburgh, for the obvious reasons. He got his teams that he coached into 3 playoffs, and of course the big year in 81 where he lost at conference finals after finishing 4th in the Patrick. Now he's also a distinguished member of the United States Hockey Hall of Fame. So I'd rather talk about his playing career than his management career, because I had to put it in my column when Jagger was traded that Patrick orchestrated the deal, and I had to basically explain to my readers probably the stupidest thing that he's ever done. And Craig Patrick's not a stupid guy. If anything, he's one of the best hockey minds out there. But again, due to my conflict of interest where I had to be an apologist for him for 4 months after Jagger was traded in Northern New Brunswick, I was getting calls. Let's put this in perspective. I get a call 6 o'clock in the morning after the trade. My buddy from Campbellton says, "Is that what I read writes in the paper? Jagger got traded." Internet wasn't strong back then as it is now. I said, "Yeah." "What did he get?" "Well, he didn't get anything." I don't even want to say, can't even mention the names of the players he got for Jagger, because they're not even household names in our own household. So, ladies and gentlemen, it's kind of I have to say what the trade is. I have to just do that. He sent in July 2001, the same year he got a Hockey Hall of Fame, by the way. He sent Jagr and role player František Kusera to the Capitals for 3 minor league prospects: Chris Beach, Michael Civic, and Ross Lupashuk, and nearly US $5 million in cash. Jagr didn't be wanted with the Penguins, but I guess that the Rangers were going to offer Patrick's, but Patrick demanded 3 players that the Rangers weren't willing to give up, and 2 prospects. So, anyway, sometimes you're a Patrick and sometimes you're an idiot. And like I said, 95% of the time he was a genius, and that 5%, I still think it was idiotic. And again, in all the trades and major sports history, it is one of the worst. Top 5 for sure. Thanks for listening.